in a setting unlike any other in the world. In a setup that is distinct from every other in the sport. The best of the very best come together to swim, to bike, and to run.
There's no strategy other than just go all out.
The rewards are incomparable. A purse that can define the entire year, and an acclaim that can rise above every other.
Dig deep, it hurts, but there's something that feels good about it.
Once a year, only one phrase can do these elite athletes and this unique competition justice.
It's called Pain in Paradise for a reason.
For a select few, there is really nothing better. Welcome to Highborn Key in the Bahamas, home of the prestigious Island House Invitational Triathlon.
We're in one of the most beautiful destinations in the world. We're here for the 3rd year, and the athletes, they love coming back here.
Just getting here by seaplane or even by boat, it's amazing. I don't know any other place which is nicer than this. The weather, the people, it's the most beautiful place to race.
It's great to be back. It's an unbelievable venue. Just to be able to stay here for a couple of days, enjoy the atmosphere.
It's just a totally different vibe than any other race, which makes it so much more enjoyable.
Adding to the exotic and dazzling setting, the Island House Invitational Triathlon truly stands above any other professional triathlon through its diverse collection of athletes that are brought here to compete in a series of races with a format unlike any other in the world.
The goal of this race is to attract the shorter course athletes and the long course athletes to come together in this event and square off where we don't really conform to any of the traditional triathlon formats.
We will race in 2 days and we will do 3 races. The first one is going to be a short bike, then we run and then we swim. And in the afternoon we do a run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. And the next day we will do a sprint distance race, which is 750 swim, 20K bike and a 5K run.
The race distances and formats for the 2-day event were carefully shaped to mesh with the different breeds of triathlete.
They've done a great job evening things out so that athletes from 70.3 and Ironman distance and athletes from ITU and their short course stuff can meet somewhere and be competitive.
To see a Richard Murray going against a long course athlete like Ben Hoffman and Hawley Lawrence going against a Flora Duffy, it's really exciting to see athletes that don't usually race against each other going at it.
It's the final race of the year for most of these superior athletes, and they are competing for much more than just status.
There's a big prize purse, $500,000 on the line, and it's one of the biggest in the sport. It is the biggest in the sport, and everyone wants their piece of that.
This is a big race. It's an opportunity to make some good money. You get to be in an amazing place like Highborn Key, and you race the best.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Highborn Key. It is the 3rd Island House Invitational Triathlon.
Day 1 consists of not 1, but 2 races, the prologue in the morning and the enduro race in the afternoon.
I wanted to put a bit of a spin on the event every time we come out here, and I think to run 2 races on one day, that creates maybe a little tactical factor to the event. The prologue, it's very short and sharp, but it can take a lot out of the legs. You got to think, well, in a couple of hours' time, I've got to go through this enduro that's far longer. The tactics of this event is what is really intriguing.
Absent from the women's competition this year, 2-time Island House Invitational champion Gwen Jorgensen, who, after recently giving birth to her first child, is still here this weekend as a commentator.
Gwen is clearly a legend in our sport, so we will definitely miss her at this race because I think she just brings another layer of excitement to the event, but hopefully having her on the mic and commentating some of the events, she'll be able to give some really great insight this weekend.
Time trial begins for the women with an unconventional race of a 7-kilometer bike, followed by a 2-kilometer run, and ending with a 200-meter swim.
There's a sharp, hard format that they're taking on today.
They're starting on the time trial bike, which not all of the athletes are used to.
Their times in this prologue will determine their race placement for the remainder of the weekend, so a strong performance here is vital, especially as all of these athletes are legit contenders.
This is what makes this race so exciting. We have Olympians, we have world champions, we have short course champions.
It's a really strong field this year. I don't think it has been stronger before.
Here comes Flora.
Flora Duffy's absolutely on fire right now and is hands down the favorite to win this event, but Katie Zafiris has come on really strong at the end of the year, and long course athletes like Emma Pallant, she's represented her country internationally in track and field.
And everyone's here to compete. They want to win.
I think that they've done a great job bringing women in that are going to create a lot of excitement in the event.
The first race of the day lives up to its promise of being fast and grueling, notably evident as the top finishers are revealed upon completion of the final leg.
Fourth is Rachel Klamer. Third place, Katie Zafiris. In second place with a time of 20:36 is Kirsten Casper. In first place, Flora Duffy with a time of 20:12.
With just over 1 minute separating the top 10 finishers, it's still anyone's race. And with the time trials now over, the women will reload quickly for stage 2.
Recovery is going to be really important because they do have that next race coming up pretty quickly.
It was really good to get out here and kind of dust out the cobwebs. Hopefully I'll be a bit better in this stage 2 now that I've warmed up and ready to go.
The Island House Invitational Triathlon is presented by the Island House. Discover this side of paradise. And brought to you by our supporting sponsors, OxyClean, gets the tough stains out, and Cervelo, P5X, Personal Best, Gatorade Endurance, formulated for further. Produced and distributed exclusively by Jalbert Productions International. A new Bahamian experience revealed. Personalized. Authentic. Creative. Refreshing. Contemporary luxury, offering a true sense of comfort, relaxation, and place. Discover this side of paradise at the Island House.
Dear OxyClean, this jersey has seen 5 years of Franklin County High School football. That's more ground in dirt and stains than you could ever imagine. The reason it looks so good is because we pre-soak and wash with OxyClean. It has saved $1,000 every year or more because they're holding up and lasting longer. We are proud of our school colors and just wanted to say thanks for 5 years of making us look and feel like champions.
OxyClean, it gets the tough stains out.
We are in the stunning Bahamas across this 2 day of exciting racing.
Under the stunning backdrop this weekend, a group of some of the fittest CEOs across the globe are sharing in the events.
Now, we are triathletes that are professionals. Triathletes that are professionals. We actually have real jobs.
We're really lucky to have 6 CEOs joining us from all around the world.
Where's my coach, Secret?
Yes.
I get the little secret text from Gwen.
CEOs of companies that they have a passion for the sport of triathlon and being able to access the athlete's knowledge. I think that's an interesting mix.
It's been good.
No more tips.
No more tips.
Okay.
But the tips are definitely welcome in this race. For although they are amateurs, the competitors tackle the same course and distances as the pro athletes.
2, 1, go.
After pushing through 2 grueling races in 1 day, Island House Invitational veteran Anthony Sullivan finds himself in second place, as newcomer Tim Koselich dashes his way to the top of the pack. The exhausting day is closing in, and the men eagerly anticipate the final day of racing.
The worst for me was today, I think. Tomorrow, it's still a short distance, but it's a little bit closer and more similar to what I usually do. So, I mean, tomorrow I just have to survive.
I love this event. I love the Island House, love the Bahamas.
Can't keep up with the Italian.
I want a spot on the podium, but let's see if it's 1 or 2 or 3, but I want to be there.
A spot on the podium and the significant prize money are in focus for the professional men as they prep for their first race and take stock.
Everyone here is class athletes. Everyone knows what we needed to do to prepare for this race. It's called Pain in Paradise for a reason. It's short, sharp racing, pretty well full throttle the whole way.
Missing among those about to go full bore, two-time Island House Triathlon competitor Tim Don. Tim, who had broken the Ironman world record in Brazil, was struck by an auto just 48 hours before the Hawaii Ironman and suffered a fractured C2 vertebrae. He's a harrowing reminder of the importance of drivers looking out for cyclists on the road, a true character of the sport. Tim is determined to return in 2018. For now, the remaining 14 athletes will take on the demanding course and this elite field.
The field, seriously, this year is a crack of a field, and almost any one of those 14 are in with a shot.
Race the best. It's not often I get to race the likes of, Sebastian and Ben Hoffman and these Ironman guys, or Mario Molo, the reigning ITU world champ.
I mean, obviously Cameron Dye is really good as well. He's shown every year that he's up on the podium. Guys obviously like Henry Schumann as well, who's Olympic bronze medalist from Rio. He's very, very good in short distance type events as well. Ben Canute from the US, Eric Lagerström. The field is stacked. I think this year is definitely by far the most competitive highborn ski I've seen thus far.
While much of the racing here may favor the ITU triathletes, the cycling rules could present the long-distance athletes with an edge.
We're going to be doing a sprint and super sprint non-drafting race. For the people who don't know what non-drafting is, that's we're not allowed to cycle behind each other. So that's obviously we have to leave gaps, and there's penalties if you come too close.
And that's what benefits us long course athletes. Don't get me wrong, there's a handful of ITU athletes who are really strong riders. But generally, they sit in the pack, come off and run really good. So for us long course guys, being able to use the bike to our advantage to either limit the deficit or make up a little bit of time before getting onto that run is going to be really good.
All the men are going to be really close together. With this type of format, it's just going to be seconds, I think, between 1st and 10th place.
Every year it just gets harder and harder. The guys get better and the race gets faster. And we know we have another one this afternoon, but yet you can't really hold anything back right now.
Thought for the whole time I was losing time on the guys in front of me, and I was suffering out there just trying to keep up.
It's hard to know where you are on the course, so you just have to go all in and hope that you got a good time at the end of it.
Ultimately, less than 45 seconds separate the top 10. A newcomer from the US leads the way.
First place, Ben Canute with a time of 18:33.
It went really well. Ended up doing a really fast time and ended up first on the results. So checked the first box on my checklist here. So got 2 more stages to go.
A new Bahamian experience revealed. Personalized. Authentic. Creative. Refreshing. Contemporary luxury, offering a true sense of comfort, relaxation, and place. Discover this side of paradise at the Island House. The first day of racing continues at the Island House Invitational Triathlon, and the athletes do what they can to keep race ready.
Big things are flushing the legs, so flushing the lactic acid out of the body. That's going to help your recovery. So a little bit of a bike ride now. Go get a protein shake in, get some 2 times your compression gear on. Just you want to keep that blood flowing out of your legs, and good warm up this afternoon and good nutrition.
For most of them, racing twice in one day is unfamiliar territory.
The exciting formats here on Highborn Key for the Island House Invitational Triathlon are different to anything else that we've seen in the world.
We try and change it up every year and keep the athletes on their toes. They don't get to compete in races like this.
The women will be first to race for the 2nd time in one day, a test that makes even the most seasoned athletes anxious.
This year's a lot different from the previous 2 years. We've done an enduro the past 2 years, but we've never raced twice in one day, so that changes the dynamic.
It's hot, it's fast, and these ladies are ready to go.
And we're off.
Stage 2 is we start with running, but then we do swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run.
And while the total distance may be that of a traditional sprint race, the events are sequenced unconventionally, another aspect of this challenge.
None of them have ever raced this format where they're starting off with a run, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
The leader from stage 1, Flora Duffy, sees the effects of the different format when she drops the lead right from the first leg of the race.
So my strategy was to take the first run out quite fast and to try to get a few people away and sort of break the field up, which I think backfired maybe a touch for me. I went maybe a bit too fast.
Emma Pallant is the leader of the females race today as they head on down to the marina. They've got a really great pace, and we'll see them now as they dive into that beautiful marina right here on Highbourne Quay.
Although Emma Pallant is first into the water, she cannot hold on to the lead for long.
Everything's so quick, and yeah, if you have any weakness, that it's just highlighted so much in these races. So for me, the swim was tough.
It is Katie Zafiris first out of the water, closely followed by Flora Duffy and Kristen Casper right there.
As the athletes have anticipated, their biggest challenge isn't necessarily the racing itself, but the progressions between events.
I think the piece of the puzzle that is going to be really important this weekend is transitions.
None of them are used to going for a run and then diving in the water. They get on their bike and they have to run up this steep hill, which is really fatiguing after that swim.
In a race like the enduro, you're going through several transitions throughout the race, so that becomes a really critical portion of the event.
Have you practiced what you're going to do when you go from run to swim? Have you practiced putting your cap on while running, while your heart rate's 160? Have you practiced putting your goggles on, you know, your dives off of a dock and things like that? Making sure that your helmet's going on smoothly and your bike shoes are going on smoothly. It's just a lot of little mental checkpoints that you're going to have to be going through your head throughout the race.
The race moves ahead as the women exit the water for the second time. Katie Zafiris leads with her competition close behind.
Katie Zafiris out of the water. She's gonna head back on the bike right now for her 10K cycle. Our second athlete out is, of course, Flora Duffy.
We have Kirsten coming out of the water now, followed closely by Hawley Lawrence.
Holly had an incredible 2016 and an even better 2017 season.
Here, long course athletes may struggle more, but the 2016 Ironman 70.3 world champion is a veteran in the Bahamas and knows what is required to do well.
I led after the first day last year, and the third day still came third, which way exceeded my expectations. I was stoked to be invited again, and I just couldn't think of anything better.
Holly is looking forward to finishing her season off right, and she's going to chase down those athletes right now.
The women battle through the final bike leg, pushing toward the final run. At this point, pain is tangible, almost a test.
The short course girls might have a few little micro gears in there. For the long course girls, for us, it's just like, do you taste blood in your mouth? Yes, then you're doing it right.
As they hit the pavement for the final 1K run, even short course athletes Katie Zafiris and Flora Duffy, who lead, feel the impact of this event.
Oh my God, absolutely. Like, I think this is the most pain I've been in all year.
Highbourne Quay gives us wind, blazing sun, humidity. We have lots of hills, lots of technical corners. You name it, we've got it in this event.
In this excruciating race, an American Olympian and ITU triathlete comes out on top.
Katie Zafiris has taken out that #1 spot of our sprint enduro.
Katie's time sets the pace to win the enduro, but the standings after combining times from the morning and afternoon races still have Flora Duffy with the upper hand.
I've never raced twice in one day, so it's pretty tiring.
After an epic day of racing, all are exhausted, hurting, and hoping they have enough left for the final day.
It's going to be a very close race tomorrow. Katie and I are good friends, so it'll be fun duking it out with her.
A new Bahamian experience revealed. Personalized. Authentic. Creative. Refreshing. Contemporary luxury offering a true sense of comfort, relaxation, and place. Discover this side of paradise at the Island House.
In Nassau, Paradise Island, Bahamas, we know better.
It's just better, better in the Bahamas. It's just better, better in the Bahamas. So much better, better in the Bahamas.
Get to know better at Bahamas.com.
The first day of racing in the Bahamas continues as the men prepare for their enduro event. It's a fickle course, full of unconventional transitions, and the bike portion may be the biggest challenge. It only takes a moment of explanation to understand why.
Once the athletes get off the bike, they've got a nasty little hill that they have to run down with their bikes, so that is super tricky. They're carrying a lot of speed, trying to hold their bike. Their shoes are clipped in, so they're going to be hitting the ground. We've seen a few athletes get a little squirrely out there on these downhills, so they have to be super careful. All the while, they gotta be focused on their transition. Racking their bike, taking off their helmet, and putting on their running shoes. They wanna do that as quickly as they can, but they also wanna do it as neatly as they can so that everything's in one spot. They have to come back into this transition quite a bit, so you wanna have everything in the same spot so you're not running around trying to look for it. They have to juggle all that in their head while their heart rate's really high. They're looking at their competitors, trying to stay in the race. So it's stressful, it's hectic, and it makes for some exciting transitions. If you consider the P5X, this bike was actually pretty unique. This bike really encompasses everything a triathlete needs, and it's modular, so they can add and remove depending on the distance of their race as well.
The men, already worn from the morning's time trials, now face the intense enduro race. Here, the next challenge waits for no one.
This is exciting. We saw a great race for our professional females, but now we've got the men. There are 14 men, some of the best athletes in the world racing right now. We have our professional men start for our sprint enduro for the 3rd edition of the Island House Invitational Triathlon.
The men are tackling the same unorthodox enduro course that the women completed earlier. And, like the women, all started at the same time, defined by the results of their time trials.
With the competitiveness, it'll be interesting to see if they take it at their own pace or if they judge off of each other and maybe go out a little bit too hard and forget that they have a lot more to go. They still have a swim, bike, run after this first run.
The morning's leader, Ben Canute, immediately takes a tactical approach from the first leg of the race.
It's mostly making sure not to go out too hard, too fast. I mean, everybody's really revving to try and make up time or try and gain time on certain people, watching each other. And that first 2K run is such a small part of the race. You still have so much more racing.
Ben Canute's long-range plan shows immediate effects, and the leaderboard has a different look when the tightly packed group of men enters the first transition.
It's basically the entire men's field coming through right now.
Mario Moloff, Aaron Royal, Henry Schumann, Ryan Bailey, and Richard Murray, our defending champion. Now, Gwen, we were talking before about Richard Murray. He's not really having the race that I think many of us would have expected.
Winner of last year's Island House Invitational, the South African Olympian stepped away from training before the event this year due to illness. Although he's a veteran here, the lack of preparation and the different course are taking their toll.
In knowing the course, I think coming back after the last 2 years plays in my benefit a little bit. But the level is so high. If you make a small mistake, it's tickets. That's your race could be done from that.
Unfortunately, upon finishing the first swim, Murray slips further away from the lead.
We do have Henry Schoeman coming out right now from South Africa. He will be heading into transition. Australian athlete Aaron Royal. Ben Canute following in third place right now. It feels like the wind has picked up since this morning. The boys have this 10K and they've got another 10K later on. So really, right now they'll be feeling it in the legs, and depending on when they're getting that tail or headwind.
Aaron Royal is no stranger to the pain associated with the Island House Invitational. And as he pushes through with the first bike leg, he recalls the pain and elation from last year's third place finish.
Your body doesn't really memorize pain that well. And so I remember during the race at one point last year, I said to myself, I'm never coming back to do this race again. It is too painful. And then as soon as I crossed the finish line, 2 minutes later, I was so happy that I got in the top 3 because I knew that automatically qualified me back for the next year. So when it's done, you don't really recall that pain so much. You just recall either having a good race and wanting to do that again, or having a bad race and wanting to do better next time.
Now, nearly halfway through the race, all the athletes push through the torment and try to stay with, or even push the pace.
I mean, it's super tight, super close, and every time I got onto the run, my calves just seized up and cramped so bad.
Just how short and how fast it is here and the quality of athletes, it's going to be painful no matter what.
As the men brave the final swim and then one by one exit the water, it feels like it's anyone's race.
We have Henry Schoeman out of the water first, closely followed by Aaron Royal from Australia and Ben Canute in third place. These guys are very quick back into transition. They're going to head out on that 10K cycle.
As the competition winds down, the top athletes from the morning make a move to distance themselves from the pack.
For the bike, I was able to lead for a good portion of that, but then Terenzo really put in a good surge, and that's what gave us a little bit of an edge going out on the last 1K.
Right now, we have New Zealand athlete Terenzo Bozzone. Sensational Terenzo. Very speedy transition. In second place, US athlete Ben Canute. Now these guys have 1K left on the run.
The two men take on the final run, finding reserves under the sun and feeling gratification from the competition.
Ben's racing amazingly. I'm a little bit older, I'm 32. I thought the guy would have shown a little bit of respect and kind of stood back and let me cross the finish line first, but the last 300 meters he dropped it like we were on the track, and I'm like, you young guys, you can have it.
That's how we do it! Woo! Woo!
Ben Canute just came through the finish line, followed by Terenzo Bozzone. Exceptional effort out there today. Terenzo and Ben, well done, gentlemen.
The others soon complete their grueling day, and the combined times from the day's races show Henry Schoeman in third, Terenzo Bozzone in second, and Ben Canute on top. With only 11 seconds separating Ben and Terenzo, there's still much to settle.
It's going to hurt tomorrow again. I need to have another race like I did today.
Hopefully wake up tomorrow morning feeling $1 million again, and can help put on a good show at Island House.
Dear OxyClean, this jersey has seen 5 years of Franklin County High School football. That's more ground in dirt and stains than you could ever imagine. The reason it looks so good is because we pre-soak and wash with OxyClean. It has saved $1,000 every year or more because they're holding up and lasting longer. We are proud of our school colors and just wanted to say thanks for 5 years of making us look and feel like champions.
OxyClean, it gets the tough stains out.
A new Bahamian experience revealed. Personalized. Authentic. Creative. Refreshing. Contemporary luxury, offering a true sense of comfort, relaxation, and place. Discover this side of paradise at the Island House. Friday's intensity behind them, the women have little time to rest or reflect. A winner will emerge by the end of the day, but at the start, the standings have Flora Duffy in the lead, followed by Katie Zafaris and Hawley Lawrence.
After what they experienced yesterday, how would they be feeling?
They're going to be hurting after 2 stages of racing, and just physically, they're not used to this type of format, and nobody knows how to really prepare for it.
This race is so painful that having the mental strength to want to sit in pain is really, really important. High view pain, like a comfortable chair that I'm just gonna recline into to get the most out of myself.
You know, thankfully these women are professionals, and once the race starts, the pain disappears and they're just focused on completing that race as fast as possible.
It's going to be hard, it's going to hurt, everybody's hurting the same amount, so just really pushing through that and not thinking too much about how the body's feeling going into it, but just trying to go as much as I can, and this is my last race of the season, so I can literally leave everything on the course today.
And that course, even though it's a different day, shapes up to be spectacularly demanding, offering a sequence of swimming, biking, and running, sure to squeeze out everything these competitors have.
I'm still leading overall, I think by only about 10 or 12 seconds. So Katie Zaferis is behind me, so it's going to be a very close race. We have raced all year neck and neck, so this is probably not the way I wanted to end a very hard, long year, but it'll be fun duking it out with her.
As current ITU world champion, crossing the line before anyone else has become Duffy's calling card. She enjoyed a career year in 2017, winning 5 races on the ITU circuit, while also capturing a record 4th straight Xterra World Championship Off-Road Triathlon Elite title.
Flora Duffy's absolutely on fire right now and is hands down the favorite to win this event, but Katie Zaferis has come on really strong at the end of the year.
Duffy enters the water first and gets to set the pace.
It's a lot about keeping your head and knowing that every second counts, so it's really just keeping that gap as small as you can.
14 seconds later, Zaferis follows Duffy into the waves.
And right now, Flora and Katie, they're going to be neck and neck. It's going to be close. They're both phenomenal swimmers, so I don't really think it will change too much in this first swim leg.
I'd love to be in position with her. If I'm chasing all the way through, I'll be ready for that too.
Engaged in their own 2-person battle, Hawley Lawrence and Kirsten Casper enter 3rd and 4th in a virtual dead heat.
We just had Hawley start. You know, it's going to be a tight race between Hawley and Kirsten. They're right on each other's feet, as you can see, and Kirsten looks like she's going to try to catch up and get on those feet of Hawley.
I think initially when I saw the course, I knew it didn't suit me as much. The distances were a lot shorter, which suited the ITU girls a little bit more. Just such a difference to the racing that I usually do.
Soon after the top of the leaderboard, the rest of the field begins the day. One immense prize awaiting.
We have our female athlete Flora Duffy in the lead right now as she heads up and into transition.
We now have Katie. She's just about to get up and run out of this water. She's going to go up to transition. She has that candy of Flora in front of her. She's just going to get her eyes on Flora and try to gain as much time back as possible.
It's a crazy race because you never know what's going to happen with the 3rd day and how people are going to feel. So chasing, but also making sure that I could maintain what I was going at and thinking on the ride, being like, oh gosh, I'm giving everything I have.
Here comes Kirsten and Hawley. And, you know, Hawley was really smart there. She just stayed on the feet of Kirsten the whole time, saved some energy. Here comes Kirsten. She's going to run up here and get to her bike and transition. Hawley had a great exit there, and she's going to really push to get to that bike.
Always staying in the moment and digging in because everyone's hurting as much as everyone else. Yeah, it's just the fun of it. So, yeah, just digging in and keep going.
Now, Hawley's done really well. She has had an exceptional season. She's come here. She's been competitive. You know, she's ready for one of those podium places.
You know, it'll be interesting to see if she can get ahead of Kirsten before that technical bit and have a strong performance on her strongest leg.
A new Bahamian experience revealed. Personalized. Authentic. Creative. Refreshing. Contemporary luxury offering a true sense of comfort, relaxation, and place. Discover this side of paradise at the Island House.
In Nassau, Paradise Island, Bahamas, we know better.
It's just better, better in the Bahamas. It's just better, better in the Bahamas. So much better, better in the Bahamas.
Get to know better at Bahamas.com.
As the women near the completion of the initial bike leg, little has changed at the top. Bermuda's Flora Duffy leads, followed by American Katie Zaferis and Great Britain's Hawley Lawrence.
We have our first professional female. As expected, Gwen, it is, of course, Flora Duffy. She's got a good lead, but she's not taking that for granted, right?
No, she's definitely not. And, you know, she had a great cycle there. She put a little bit of time into Katie, and she's going to be able to see how far apart she is. And you can just see her gunning for it up this hill.
Of course, coming into day 3, you're holding a lot of fatigue, so you don't really know what's going to happen, how your body's going to feel, how you know, Katie is going to feel as well.
And we can see Katie come in here, so she has quite a bit of lead, and you know, she definitely put some time into Katie. Katie's going to have to work hard on this run.
So for the swim, I think I lost some time. I lost some time on the bike, but I was making sure that I was still chasing and just trying to pick off what I could.
In third place, Gwen, it is great to see Hawley Lawrence. Now, Hawley looks like she's got a lot more control of her bike compared to what she did have yesterday. As expected, Kirsten Casper coming in a little bit slower running into transition than, say, Hawley was.
Yeah, Hawley had a great transition there, and like you said, much more control, so maybe she worked on that.
You know, Kirsten, if she wants to step up and get one of those podium places, she does have a little work to do.
Traversing across a variety of surfaces, each runner must navigate through multiple variables. The fatigue and wear on the body, the pace set by those in front and behind, the knowledge that time is running out to make a move. For contenders like Katie Zaferis, Hawley Lawrence, and Kirsten Casper, they must also contend with a racer who seemingly conjures yet another gear out of near exhaustion. In the end, the woman who has personified dominance in 2017 closes out her season with yet another declaration of her greatness.
And it's Flora. Third time is the charm for Flora, finally coming across that finish tape in first. She is going to be thrilled. Congratulations, Flora. That was a great 3-stage race.
Yeah, I mean, this is my 3rd year here. My 1st year I was 3rd, my 2nd year I was 2nd, and now I'm on the top step. It's such a hard race, and that 5K, I mean, you're on the road, you're on the beach, you're on the gravel, you're going up and down hills, it's windy, and so just super happy it's over and I won.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our second female to cross the finish line is Katie Zaferis. She has had an exceptional 2 days of racing, and no doubt she'll be very, very pleased.
It's amazing. Last year I finished 9th, so I was really happy to perform a lot better for this year and be in contention for the top of the podium, but I didn't have it today.
Put your hands together for our third professional female, Hawley Lawrence. Well done, Hawley. Congratulations on your race this weekend.
In the end, the champion Flora Duffy headlines a collection of 15 athletes, defined by minutes and seconds, diversity, courage, and a passion for challenging limits while embracing competition. Like the 15 professional women, 6 amateur men are thrust back into the competition. These half-dozen CEOs enter the final day with Italy's Tim Kosulich at the top, followed by Island House Invitational veteran Anthony Sullivan and American Shannon Horn. With less than 2 minutes separating the trio, the array of physical challenges ahead gives these athletes both obstacle and opportunity to make a run at the title. In the end, Horn and Sullivan are still looking up at newcomer Kosulich.
Tim Kosulich, congratulations on your race. You are our winner here today at the Island House Invitational Triathlon.
Pain in paradise. Right here.
Pain, paradise, and an unforgettable experience for all 6. It's time for one final group to test themselves as the professional men take center stage in this ultimate test of endurance. Before hitting the water, they are acutely aware of what they face and what victory represents.
They don't call this pain in paradise for nothing. It's going to be hard out there this weekend, and I think all the athletes are expecting that. There's a big prize purse, $500,000 on the line, and everyone wants their piece of that.
You get the opportunity to make some good coin in one big race, and you have one good weekend. That's a huge motivator. I mean, especially it's late in the season. Guys are tired. We've all been racing since March or April. You can basically have a mediocre season, and you come here and you win this race. You've turned it all around financially.
In this sport, you just really need to be courageous. I've got to go here and just give it everything that I've got. That's the qualities you need to be able to win this race. It's all about redlining. You got to be ready to go into the red and push for 3 triathlons, and I'm looking forward to that.
The leader heading into the swim. Then Canoe hits the water holding an 11-second advantage over Terenzo Bozzoni.
so many good athletes here, and I have to really try and put together my best race possible and race like I don't have a gap on anybody's.
Henry just started. We have Aaron Royal in the water as well, and you're gonna see Cam go in just about now. I think I just saw him dive in.
And everybody's gonna be tired. We're all gonna be dragging, and especially because it's all individual starts. I've had the fastest overall split the last 2 years. Even though I haven't won the race, I've won that race, and see what we can do there.
Ben Canute's got a decent lead on Terenzo, but it looks like Henry Scoomer and Aaron Royal are following close by.
I have to know that when I get into the water, I have to put the foot down and just go as hard as I can, because I need to have a little bit of a buffer when it gets to their strengths, which is their run.
Henry Schumann and Aaron Royal are strong swimmers, and they're very close to Terenzo, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pass him on this next lap.
I think I just need to have a strong swim. I can no doubt reel Ben or Terenzo in.
I think it is Henry Scooman making the pass right now of Terenzo.
And, I wouldn't count out Terenzo yet. He has a really strong cycling and running that he has left to do. And these men, they're not going to give up on this second place or first place.
As the first set of swimmers jockey for advantage in the water, the remaining athletes follow in their wake, intent on gaining ground.
Ben Canute coming back in right now. Head into transition because the race is definitely going to heat up from here.
My goal was just to try and be at the front the whole day and try and stay as close to the front. I was just kind of feeding off the other guys, and we were racing today, and that was a lot of fun.
Not far behind him, I think this is going to be Henry Scooman. Henry Scooman has really made up some time on Terenzo, and he's also put some time into Aaron Royal.
Henry Scooman and Aaron Royal have emerged from the water, better positioned than before they entered. Once just off the overall lead, New Zealand's Terenzo Bozzoni transitions to the bike leg with significant ground to make up. Time is running out to make a move. A new Bahamian experience revealed. Personalized. Authentic. Creative. Refreshing. Contemporary luxury offering a true sense of comfort, relaxation, and place. Discover this side of paradise at the Island House.
So we have Cam Dye and Ryan Bailey coming out of the water right now.
Ben Canute's the dude to beat. I think if you can beat Ben, you got a good shot at winning this whole thing. I mean, he's young, he's hungry. He was second at 70.3 Worlds. He's had some great ITU finishes. He went to the Olympics last year. He's the well-rounded guy, and he's leading the race right now.
Here we have Ruby, and we have Richard Murray coming into transition.
On the pain threshold, it's rather high, especially the heat and humidity plays a factor. The exertion is extremely high. The shorter the races get, the exertion gets higher. Adrenaline is even higher. So it's very adrenaline-fueled type of racing, this distances.
The final day's first leg, the swim, has shaken up the field. The 14 men come out of the transition looking for any edge to advance as much as they can. From the 20-kilometer bike portion that will move into a 5K run, there are 13 men in chase, all behind Ben Canute. But even leadership does not equal comfort.
On any given day, like, anybody could be winning this race, so you just really have to make sure you're staying focused and you're staying in it and really staying on, because if you make one little mistake, somebody's going to be there to pick up a few seconds here or there.
If everyone's in sight and in contention, those guys who are a little bit weaker on the bike will ride a bit harder to stay in contention, and a little bit of testosterone takes over, I guess, and you want to be the macho man.
In 20 kilometers, much can happen. And for Terenzo Bozzoni, it does. The 32-year-old first passes Aaron Royal and then overtakes Henry Scooman to move into second place. The leader, 24-year-old Ben Canute, falls into Bozzoni's sights.
Ben Canute back into transition because he cannot take anything for granted because we have heard that Terenzo has made the pass into position 2. So here he comes, and Terenzo Bozzone speeding to try to catch Ben, with Australian athlete Aaron Royal closely following behind.
As a whole, being able to race last year, gain the experience, understand the race a little bit better is a bit more to my advantage.
Gwen, this is it. This is where the race heats up, and we're about to potentially finish and see our champion for the 2017 Island House Tri.
Tammy, this is an exciting race. It's just gonna all come down to this 5-kilometer run. It's on some gravel. They have to run along the beach, so it's gonna be a tough run.
The tension mounts as the distance between first and second closes. With each stride, under a blinding sun, a champion moves toward the finish line. It will be one of 2 men, as Canute and Bozzone pull away from the rest of the field.
You know, I thought I'd be able to reel them in on the run. Just holding that distance, I couldn't catch it up. So, I mean, Terenzo and Ben were just super strong on the day.
The gap sort of came towards the end when everyone started to get fatigued. And to be honest, I was just in survival mode in that last 1,500 meters.
Just had news that potentially Terenzo has caught Ben Canute. Pretty amazing that Terenzo may just take out the 2017 Island House Tries.
I caught Ben, not comfortably, but I caught him. I was catching him pretty good, and I thought I'd give him a little bit of a nudge going onto the beach. So I made sure I hit those steps in first place.
With each tread hitting the terrain, a final sprint looms, with the 2 leaders even. Incredibly, after 2 days, separation is almost unmeasurable.
We didn't slow down, but we kind of shoulder to shoulder for a few hundred meters. And then just as the road started to pitch up, Ben decided to make surge number 1. And I thought, okay, I want to be on the inside line going into the corner at the top of the hill. If I can be on the inside and have a little bit of a gap, then that should be the race. That should be the victory. And I got to the inside. I got to the corner first. Had a little bit of a gap on him.
And then I gave him the lead as he was rounding the corner. Just found an extra gear.
So he said, you don't want to be in a sprint with him. And sure enough, if I could go back, I don't want to be in a sprint with him. But I'm not sure what I would have done differently.
Ben Canute from the United States, so close with Terenzo, our New Zealand athlete, leading it. Wow, gentlemen, what an absolute sprint to that finish line.
You could tell those guys were holding their gap on the bike, and on the run, I knew they would challenge. They're all so strong. Terenzo's an animal, and those other guys have some fast foot speed. So I just tried to run what I knew I could, and then when Terenzo came around, I just stuck on him. Too big of stakes to let anybody go here. You got to take a chance.
You know what? My whole goal for this weekend, pain in paradise. I just wanted to get in the red, rev my engine. The only time every year where I get my heart rate this high is over here in Highborn Key. I'm stoked. I couldn't ask for any more.
Dramatic finishes continue on this day, as Henry Schoeman holds on for 3rd, ahead of Aaron Royal.
It was very, very tight. A bit of tactics came into play, and I tried to maybe push a little bit too hard on the bike and pay for it on the run and suffered a bit, but held on to 4th.
I mean, I'm more than happy just to get over the line. It was a lot of pain out there, and yeah, I mean, I just had some great fun. The course was really tough, very windy. Yes, I mean, I'm just happy I didn't cramp up and got over the line, and 3rd place, I'm so happy.
It's not every day, it's not every year that I can be in this kind of form, so I was just glad I could do it in front of a great crowd here, and hopefully everyone watching back home.
It's an extraordinary and fitting conclusion to this ultimate test, this pain in paradise.
Please put your hands together for our top 3 female and male professionals for the 2017 Island House Triathlon.
At the end of the day, you want to finish your career and go, I experienced some amazing things, and racing here in Highborn Key is one of those memories that I'll never forget.
Having the long course, ITU, or draft legal athletes all together, it's just a really cool situation that we don't get to do very much. So it's just really fun and really hard.
It's difficult to find a venue where you can put short course and long course athletes together. So the fact that we had, an Ironman champion competing for 1st place with a 70.3 athlete shows that we provided a short course, but it had enough dynamics in it that the longer course guys could compete as well.
We're very fortunate that Mark Aloisco's and Luke and Beth McKenzie put this on and bring triathlon to a more mainstream audience, and big thanks to them for putting this together. Pain in paradise, baby.
The Island House Invitational Triathlon was presented by The Island House. Discover this side of paradise. And brought to you by our supporting sponsors. OxyClean gets the tough stains out. And Cervelo P5X, personal best. Bahamas Ministry of Tourism. Hashtag It's Better in the Bahamas. Gatorade Endurance, formulated for further. Produced and distributed exclusively by Jalbert Productions International. Jalbert Productions International, all rights reserved.